Hey folks, welcome back to Ninja Nerd Warrior Show, episode 2, take 2. So just to let you guys know, we had to refilm this because we had some computer issues, and we lost the whole show. So we're doing this over. The downside to that is I am now sick. I've been sick for a day and a half. The upside is we have a great trailer to talk about now that we didn't have the first time. So it balances out. This show is brought to you by the new UFC game, UFC 3, where the gameplay is so realistic you can do drugs and you can still win a championship. But you know what? This is becoming too much of a habit. Talk about the passing of Mean Gene Okerlund. So for anybody who is my age, grew up a wrestling fan like I did, Mean Gene was that staple. He was that constant. And Gene, as you know, was the interview guy. He would come in and he gave the guys a way to get over. All right. Now, for all of you wrestling fans, what you do in the ring is not enough to get over. Getting over means, you know, get the crowd on your side. All right. Pro wrestling is as much a character driven as it is athletically driven. Okay. So it doesn't matter how good a guy looks if he can't speak, if he can't talk and either get the crowd to love him or get the crowd to hate him, he's useless. There have been a bunch of guys with $1 million bodies. There have been a bunch of guys who were amazing athletes, but if you can't talk, if you can't rile the crowd up, you're useless. You're not going to make any money. And so they would bring in somebody like Mean Gene, who Mean Gene knew, he didn't just ask a question and hand somebody a microphone. Gino knew that, oh, hey, this guy's getting off track. This guy is, you know, and Gene had a great way of bringing him back. You know, and Gene started his career in Verne Gagne's AWA, based out of Minneapolis, and he was instrumental in helping start out Hulkamania. Hulk Hogan has even said in Hulk's book and Hulk's interviews, he said that Gino was just as big a part of Hulkamania as Hogan was, because Gino was that guy who, you know, he would talk about the match coming up. He knew how to promote. He knew how to... Gene had a sales background, so he knew what points to hit to get people interested. And if you had a great interview, like Hogan was an awesome promo. Hogan was always a great promo. Him and Gene, captivating. You had guys like Hercules Hernandez, not a great promo. Gino could get decent stuff out of him. And we don't have that in wrestling nowadays. We really don't, because they want their superstars to be the stars, and they just want kind of this nameless, faceless, anonymous question person. And I think it's kind of a lost art. It really is. And so that's what Gene was great at. Gene then followed Hulk to WWF. Okay, Vince went in, and he, you know, during the territory days when Vince rated talent, Vince saw that Gene Okerlund was just as a big a part of Hulkamania as Hulk Hogan. So he signed Hogan to a deal, signed Okerlund to a deal. Okerlund worked for WWE till about 93, I think. And this was about the time when WWE was about to go broke. They said, hey, Gene, we can't afford to keep you. You know, and Gene, being a great sales guy, having a great business mind, said, well, why am I going to stay here for less money? Turner's offering me more money, I want to say 30% of the hotline, to do the exact same job. So Gene ends up in WCW. So where he was still as great. There's some interviews with, look them up on YouTube. There's an interview that Gene Okerlund does with the Natural Born Thrillers, who was just, it was, God, I can't even, I'm so off right now, I can't even think who the Natural Born Thrillers were. But they're taking shots at Gene. And they're, you know, a lot of guys got over by insulting Gene, and Gene just took it. And I guess one day they told Gene, they're like, go ahead and fire back. And Gene, listen, you little shit, and just starts swearing at him. And it's a great interview. So, but all throughout Gene's career, I was a huge fan. I became a wrestling fan back in '88. And we lost Gene a couple weeks ago. He had a bad fall, and unfortunately, he never recovered. So rest in peace, Mean Gene Okerlund, another huge part of my childhood. We'll kind of pick the vibe up here a little bit. The next thing I want to talk about was the movie 3 from Hell, which is, if you're a fan of Rob Zombie, which I am. I've been a fan of his music. I've been a fan of his music since he came out in 92, 93 with White Zombie. And his solo stuff, I've been a fan of that. And then he wants to get into movies. Rob Zombie wants to do this movie, and he called it, he wrote the movie himself, he directed it, he funded the whole thing, called, maybe you've heard of it, House of a Thousand Corpses. So, like I said, he pockets the entire budget, came out of his pocket, gets this movie made, he shops it around for 5 years. Nobody wants to touch it. Absolutely nobody wants to touch this thing. And so, after 5 years, he finally finds a studio that says, you know what, we'll go ahead and do that. And the movie was huge. It's about this family, I guess you can say, that they lure different people, off the roads, and they dissect them, they dismember them, they just do all kinds of experiments. It really is really twisted. Which, if you know anything about Rob Zombie, those are the movies he grew up on. He grew up on Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He grew up on Friday the 13th and Halloween, and even a lot of indie and B-budget stuff. So he's a huge He's a huge slasher flick fan. And so that's the movie he made. Makes it, like I said, shops it around, finally gets somebody to pick it up, and the thing is huge. So they ask him, okay, we need a sequel. So he comes out with The Devil's Rejects. It only took 2 years. You look at the first one that he wrote, directed, filmed himself, and then takes 5 years. You're looking at, well, let's say 6 years. All right, it takes 6 years for him to get this movie made. The second one's done in 2 years. Okay, and Devil's Rejects, obviously, picks up almost immediately where the House of a Thousand Corpses leaves off. And so ever since that movie, people are like, hey, what else are you doing? And he says, well, I'm redoing the Halloween movies. He does 2 Halloween movies. He does Lords of Salem. He does 31. Pretty much whatever he wants at this point. And I guess people kept asking him, what about Devil's Rejects? Are you going to do something else along those lines? So here comes 3 from Hell, where here's the part that I wasn't quite sure of. You killed everybody off in the second movie. So how are you doing the sequel? Okay? I'm an idiot. Because it's a horror movie, no one's ever really dead. Alright? How many times has Jason Voorhees been killed? Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, holy shit. You go on, and like a dumb shit, I actually thought, oh, well, you killed these characters off in a gunfight. Spoiler alert. You can't make another movie. Rob Zombie said, fuck you, I can't. So I was at Ozfest for New Year's Eve. Fucking great. It was awesome. Rob Zombie was on the bill. And halfway through his set, everyone played for about an hour. Because you had Ozzy, you had Rob Zombie, you had Marilyn Manson, Jonathan Davis, you had Ice-T and Body Count. And they all got about a 1 hour set. And halfway through Rob's set, he leaves. And anyone's ever been to a Rob Zombie set, the stage show and the screens, it's fucking great. He leaves, stage goes black, and now he's showing the trailer for 3 from Hell. And the crowd lost its shit. It was absolutely great. And I look at my girlfriend, I was like, oh, we're seeing that. We're so seeing that. And my sweet little girlfriend, who's not a big horror movie fan, never got to see them when she was a kid because her dad was like, fuck that shit. You're not going to watch that grotesque shit. So now I have to go back and show her House of a Thousand Corpses, Devil's Rejects, so she can watch 3 from Hell. So, but yeah, definitely looking forward to 3 from Hell. I'm so stoked about that one. Moving on from 3 from Hell and this one. Oh my god. Fucking Bird Box. Oh my god. Alright, guys. Here's the thing. Miguel, have you seen it yet?
I saw it. It was okay.
It was okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah.
And see, but that's the problem. I've said it before, and I've been talking with Miguel and Frankie, and I tell them, I like what I like, but don't overhype. One thing I can't stand, don't overhype stuff for me. If it's good, tell me it's good. If you didn't care for it, okay. If you tell me it's great, I'm going in expecting a great fucking movie. All right? Now, Bird Box, as anyone watching this has seen it, knows you couldn't escape the hype on this movie. Okay? It was all over the place. There were fucking memes and everything was Bird Box this and why the hell am I looking at pictures of Sandra Bullock in a blindfold?
I got told by an old man at the cigar shop to watch that movie. Random conversation.
Yeah, see that's what I mean is that all right, when people you aren't expecting tell you this movie is great, this movie better be fucking great. All right? Because now I'm sitting there going, all right, I have to see this. So I open up 2 hours of my life to watch this fucking movie. I can't say spoiler warning because I don't know if you can spoil this movie. What the fuck was this movie about? All right, here's the best I can tell was that something has invaded the planet and it's causing people to lose their mind. What's invaded? We don't know. How are they causing them to lose their mind? We don't know. And that's the problem with this movie. Okay, so Sandra Bullock, it's got Sandra Bullock in it. It's got Sarah Paulson. It had John Malkovich. It's got a great cast. B.D. Wong is in it from Law & Order SVU, out Jurassic World. It had a great cast. It had a really great cast. And it had a really interesting premise. Something is here. You look at it, and it makes you see something so horrendous, so horrific, that you immediately kill yourself. Which is it's a great premise for a movie. So once I found all this out, I'm like, okay, maybe this is worth the hype. Cool. And I start watching it. And you have a pregnant Sandra Bullock. Lisa Paulson plays her sister, Lisa Paulson from American Horror Stories, who's also great. And she's pregnant, doesn't want to be pregnant. You're about 8 months along, so probably should have thought of that 9.5 months ago. But on the drive home, you have you have car accidents, you have people running in the streets, it's just chaos. All right? And Sarah Paulson is fantastic. I'm not a big American Horror Story fan. I'm not a big fan of it. I can see why people are, but Sarah Paulson is fantastic because there's that one shot where she's driving down the street, camera's right in her face, and she just sees something, and she just starts she freezes, but she starts crying. And now I'm intrigued because this is what would you say, about 20 minutes in?
Yeah.
15, 20 minutes? Okay. All right, so 15 minutes in, 20 minutes in, I'm already like, okay, this looks really good. Because it's seriously just violence and rioting in the streets. People are losing their shit. I'm like, okay, all right, now we're going somewhere. Wrecks the car. Sandra Bullock and Lisa Paulson climb out of this car. And Lisa Paulson's character just backs into and boom, hit by a garbage truck. Just, oh my God. So right there, I'm just like, oh, I'm on board. Okay, here we go. And then what happens from then on? Nothing. Fucking nothing. Because you can't have a horror movie without a villain. It doesn't work. Take Jaws. Take the shark out of Jaws. You don't have anything. Any of those slasher movies I talked about before, Nightmare on Elm Street, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Halloween, you take those respective villains out, and you've got nothing. See, and I think that was the problem with this movie, is you never saw the alien or demon or whatever it was. You never saw it. You never saw what they saw. Okay, which I like the concept of building the suspense. I like the concept of building that anticipation, and then you finally do that reveal at the end to see what these people saw. You never got that. It was all build up and no payoff. And so that's kind of where I had a problem with this movie. Was you have an interesting premise, a fascinating premise. You have an incredibly talented crew. Excuse me. You have an incredibly talented staff here. God damn it. I will get this right at some point. You have an incredibly talented cast. But you have nowhere for them to go. You just keep recycling the same thing, which is, we're going to die, we're going to die, we're going to die. Why? What's after you? Okay, so, and then parts of the writing were so lazy. Talked about this on the first trial at this show. There was the John Malkovich, and John Malkovich is a great actor, but even he had to throw up in his mouth a little bit at this line, where he says, well, a few miles down, there's a hospital for the criminally insane. Really? Has anybody ever seen a hospital for the criminally insane? Google hospital for criminally insane right now and see if any specific hospitals come up. Like, it was so lazy. You could have said the such and such institute or such and such hospital or whatever. But you had to say criminally insane. It was so kind of 70s, just kind of B budget. Oh, we need fill in down here. It was so bad. It really was. The movie takes place over 5 years because she's pregnant. They have another pregnant woman in the house. They go into labor on the exact same day. That was convenient, I guess. And then we smash cut to 5 years later. Sandra Bullock is living with her kids, boy and girl. Yeah, she named them boy and girl. I'm like, what? You've had 5 years to name these kids and you just, boy and girl was the best you had? All right, okay. She's living with Tom, who is the only survivor left from the original group. And it's just 5 years later. You have to blindfold yourself when you go outside. You can't, there was so much potential in this movie, and it delivered on none of it. So, don't. Whatever you do, don't watch Bird Box, guys. It was just a horrible fucking movie. I want my 2 hours back. Netflix, you owe me 2 hours of my life. You really do. And for anyone who sent me Bird Box memes in the last 3 weeks, you're dead to me. Fuck you. Because everything was a Bird Box meme. Okay? You had political posts were Bird Box. You had, somebody blew a field goal kick in the football game last Sunday. Fucking Bird Box. It was just, oh my God. Did you see those?
Oh, I felt bad for that guy. He's definitely fired.
Oh, I don't watch enough football to know who's who. But that Chicago game.
I didn't know him either. It's totally not important, but he's done that same thing where he hits the post 7 times this year. 7 times, and they still let him play. So
all right, maybe he deserved to be a meme. He deserves to be a meme. He really does. But all right, folks, just don't watch Bird Box. And I made this comparison earlier. There was another movie just like this called The Happening. It's an M. Night Shyamalan movie. It was the same thing. People were just killing themselves. It's never explained why. It's never explained why it stopped. It's just there. And so that was the movie I keep comparing this to the most. As far as really interesting premise, execution was... Do you remember when The Happening came out?
Yeah.
They kept marketing it as M. Night Shyamalan's first R-rated movie. Who gives a fuck? A good story's a good story. And if you ever, my ex-girlfriend at the time, I bought her that movie because she loved it. She loved all of M. Night Shyamalan's bullshit. Actually saw M. Night Shyamalan in an airport one time, and he's sitting there and he's typing on his laptop, and I was so tempted to run up and just fucking throw the laptop on the ground, start jumping up and down on it, and go, "Didn't see that twist coming, did ya?" And then just take off running. Think it would have been a great story.
No.
And then SLAPD cuffed me. No. Anyway, but yeah, it was that type of that's the closest thing I compare it to. So if you've seen The Happening, you don't need to see Bird Box. So, but we're gonna close this out on this was the trailer that dropped between the time we recorded the show and the time producer Miguel's computer took a shit. I'm sorry, dude. Anyone who's ever had a computer crash, you know what a giant pain in the ass that is. So, but again, we got a nice little Christmas present out of it, which was we got the Spider-Man Far From Home trailer. And this looks great. All right? Now, not gonna lie, there's already complaints about this trailer. There's already complaints because people are going, Avengers Endgame hasn't come out yet. This is a spoiler. Did you really think they were going to end up dead? Did you really think they were going to keep Peter Parker dead? They were going to keep Black Panther? No shit, it's a spoiler. Fucking hell, people. Just stay with me, all right? Just stay with me on this, all right? Do you know how many times comic book characters have been killed and brought back? Death is not death in the comic book world, all right? So, fucking calm down. But this takes place after Avengers Endgame, and the whole premise of this movie is Peter Parker's taking a European vacation with his class over the summer. And somehow Aunt May knows he's Spider-Man, which didn't happen till way later in the comic, but all right. We'll go for this ride. And she's telling him, don't forget to take your suit. Don't forget to take your suit. And he's going, well, Europe doesn't need a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. So he leaves the suit at home. Get to customs, and anyone who's ever gone into a different country knows, they're going to check your bag. It's a random bag check. Opens up his bag, there's the Spider-Man suit, and a note saying, you forgot this, May. Okay. Going around Europe, and how do you feel about Zendaya as Mary Jane?
She's really funny. I was hoping for a redhead, but I don't care now. I really don't.
I'm not a big fan of hers. I'm not a big fan of hers in the Spider-Man movie. As an actress, in and of itself, she was fantastic in The Greatest Showman. She was amazing in The Greatest Showman. I'm not a big fan of Zendaya as Mary Jane. Because... And it's not calm down, it's not the race of the actress. Calm the fuck down. Mary Jane Watson wasn't a smartass. Mary Jane Watson was your typical beauty queen, cheerleader type. That chick we all went to high school with. That was Mary Jane Watson. Okay? And in the first movie, Zendaya's character just kept fucking picking at Peter Parker. Just kept fucking with him. And I'm like, how is this? This better not be Mary Jane. What'd they say her name was?
I don't know.
It wasn't Mary Jane. But I remember at the end, my friends called me MJ. And that's when I kind of threw up a little bit in my mouth. I'm just like, fucking no. All right. But like I said, I like Zendaya as an actress. I think she's great. I'm not a fan of her in this role, but okay. And as they're in Europe, they're vacationing, as teenagers. Like, if you could have gone to Italy in high school, fuck yeah, you would have done it, right?
Oh yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Michelle Jones.
Michelle Jones. Okay, that was her character's name. All right. So they're all having a blast, and all of a sudden Nick Fury shows up, and good to finally meet you, Spider-Man. Which, spoiler alert, Nick Fury's not dead either. And which makes perfect sense because Tony Stark in Infinity War says, "All right, that's it. You're now you're an Avenger." Well, who runs the Avengers? Nick Fury. So it kind of makes sense that Nick Fury would be like, "Who the fuck is this guy? I never recruited him." So yeah, so he's trying to get to know, the latest Avenger. All right, you see glimpses of what I think was Hydro Man, what's supposed to be Hydro Man. All right,
Elementals is what I'm being told.
Elementals?
There's a story about all of them. Because they showed 3 or 4?
They show.
Fire, water.
Oh, my drinking problem's back. Okay. No, they showed what looked like Hydro Man. They looked like what could have been Sandman.
Yeah.
Okay. Elementals make sense. All right, but your villain is Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio, which I heard. Okay, when I heard Jake Gyllenhaal's Mysterio, I'm like, all right, Jake Gyllenhaal's great. How are you gonna do Mysterio? Because he's kind of hokey, and I don't know how well he would translate to the screen. And you see him in this Russell Crowe kind of gladiator outfit. And so I'm like, oh, that looks bad. It looks really bad.
I loved it.
I'm not on board with the look yet. All right? It's first trailer. I'm just kind of, it's a nitpick. Jake Gyllenhaal's great. So as if he's written half as well as Michael Keaton was written in the first Spider-Man movie, cool. I'm on board. It's going to be, because he was fantastic. Michael Keaton was fucking great as Vulture. And so if Jake Gyllenhaal's written half as well, it's going to be awesome. Okay? And throw in some Ramones music with the trailer. Awesome. So if you haven't had a chance to check out the trailer, here it is, and so enjoy.
Thank you, Spider-Man.
That was so good.
Hey, sorry I'm late.
Happy. You look nice.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. New dress?
Yes, it is. How'd you know?
What just happened?
Planning a trip?
Mm-hmm. Going to Europe. It's a school trip.
Did you get your passport?
Peter Parker here to pick up a passport, please.
Mini toothpaste?
Mm-hmm.
Pack your suit.
I just want to go on my trip with my friends. Europe doesn't really need a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. You look really pretty.
Therefore, I have value.
No, that's not
I'm
right.
messing with you. You look pretty too.
I just want to spend some time with MJ. I think she really likes me, dude.
That reminds me when I first fell in love. I had just finished my food cobbler.
So nice to finally meet you, Spider-Man.
You're Nick Fury.
Put some clothes on. Let's go for a ride.
Is he gonna be okay like that?
Might want to turn him over so he doesn't swallow his tongue.
I think Nick Fury just hijacked our summer vacation.
Awesome!
You got gifts, Parker, but you have a job to do. Are you going to step up or not?
You're all alone. Your friends are in trouble. What are you going to do about it?
You don't want any part of this.
Who is that guy?
He's like Iron Man and Thor rolled into one.
He's no Spider-Man.
What is it with you and Spider-Man?
What, he looks out for the neighborhood, has a dope suit, and I really respect him. Sup, dickwad?
All right, folks. So that's the Ninja Warrior show today. A little bit shorter than we normally, but again, I'm all hopped up on energy drinks and NyQuil, with a leaf cold and sinus thrown in there. And I'm doing a lot because I'm kind of out of it right now. If you'd like to check me out when I'm at my back to normal, you can look up the Ninja Nerd Warrior on all forms of social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. If you're watching this show, you've already found me on YouTube. And if you want to watch me do stand-up, you can come out to any of our open mics. We have Tuesday night at Jerry's Pizza, hosted by Landon Webb and Eddie Molina. You have Wednesday night at Tembler Brewing Company, hosted by Chris Flail. And you have Thursday night at Rocket Shop, hosted by Daniel Betts. If you want to come out and support the Bakersfield comedy scene, I highly recommend it. A lot of great comics in this area. When you live in a town where there's nothing to do but drink and do meth, gives you a pretty decent sense of humor. Oh, and teen pregnancy. Let's not forget the teen pregnancy. And if you are going to be in the Santa Maria area around January 20th, and you want to see me wrestle under my DP Wilson character, which it's a Deadpool ripoff, but shh, don't tell Fox. Come on out to Radisson in Santa Maria. January 20th, show starts at 4. And come check us out. I'm in a triple threat match with RJ Cruz and I am totally blanking. I know it's on the screen behind me, folks. Again, I'm all hopped up on cold medicine right now. So that is going to be Sunday, January 20th. And until then, another thing I want to talk about real quick before we leave. For anybody who was a fan of the Netflix Daredevil show, there is actually a petition on Twitter right now. Netflix canceled Daredevil. Like, nobody knew this was coming. Anybody who's watched it, Daredevil's done 3 great seasons. They were actually in the process of starting to record season 4. They're actually starting to film season 4 starting next month when Netflix pulled the plug. And so fans are pissed. All right? The cast and crew is pissed. Charlie Cox even came out saying, the fuck? Deborah Ann Wall has no idea what's going on. Vincent D'Onofrio has no idea what's going on. Like, nobody knows anything. Okay? Vincent D'Onofrio is actually started an online petition on Twitter, Save Daredevil. So go over to Vincent D'Onofrio's page on Twitter, and there's a link in his feed. The page you can go, sign the petition, bring back Daredevil. This has happened before. For any of you familiar with the show Jericho is a show on Sci-Fi, and it was canceled, I believe, after the first season, maybe the second. Season 2. All right. Fans were like, no, hell no. And fans started an online petition, and which actually caused Sci-Fi to bring the show back. Family Guy was canceled, and then it won a bunch of daytime Emmys. So they brought Family Guy back, and Family Guy's been going, what, 10 years? 12 years?
Around season 15, I think?
15, okay.
Something crazy.
Yeah, it was canceled after like season 3. All right, so just because a show's canceled doesn't mean fan support cannot bring it back. So I highly recommend this. And for any of you who know me, you know I fucking hate online petitions with a passion. But I really support this one. So go hunt down Vincent D'Onofrio's Twitter page. Find the link and support hashtag Save Daredevil. All right? So with that, I'm going to say goodbye. Thanks again, folks. Thanks for putting up with me while I'm not quite 100%. But we will catch you next time. All right? Thank you.